Now to the trial of a former pharmaceutical CEO who caused a nationwide uproar when he hiked the price of a life-saving drug 5,000% and refused to apologize. Now he's on trial for fraud, but struggling to find impartial jurors. ABC's Lindsay Davis is following the case for us. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Robin. That notoriety from the infamous price hike has left a stain that's now following him even into trial, even though those charges are unrelated. So far this week, it's been a laborious lesson in just how difficult it is to seat a jury when the subject of the trial has been described as the most hated man in America. This morning, the taxing jury selection is entering its third day for the trial of the so-called bad boy of pharmaceuticals, Martin Shkreli.
Martin, do you think you'll be able to get a fair trial?
Nearly 200 potential jurors have already been dismissed at the federal securities fraud trial after some of them told the judge they could not be impartial, even calling Shkreli the face of corporate greed and a snake. Shkreli rose to infamy after raising the price of an HIV and cancer drug from $13.50 to $750 per pill, a 5,000% increase. Shkreli defended himself when we interviewed him in 2015.
Not a greedy person. This is a very low demand drug. The price of the product was so low, no company could afford to continue making it. The fact that we need to make a profit is a much, much better outcome than the drug being discontinued.
When he faced Congress in a 2016 hearing over pharmaceutical pricing, he declined to answer questions.
Do you think you've done anything wrong?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Now he's facing unrelated charges for alleged securities fraud.
I don't really care about people hating me.
Federal prosecutors claim he essentially ran his two former companies, a hedge fund and a biotech firm, like a Ponzi scheme.
I'm innocent and I intend to prove it.
And once they're able to get the jury seated, opening statements could begin as early as today. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. If convicted, Shkreli faces up to 20 years in prison. Robin.
All right, Lindsay, thank you very much. And we're going to bring in ABC News chief legal analyst Dan Abrams. How difficult is it going to be to seat this jury?
Not as difficult as his attorney would have you believe. Most people don't know who he is. I mean, the bottom line is his attorney's making it sound like anyone who walks into the courtroom, of course, knows who he is. A lot of people don't know who this guy is. The greater danger, I think, is that the people who do hate him not make comments in front of other prospective jurors, because then you have the risk of tainting the entire pool of people who are there. So that's the real challenge for the judge, which is containing the very passionate comments that certain people may make about him and making sure that it doesn't affect the rest of the jury pool.
Well, you know, his lawyers already called for a mistrial, citing all the attention and the coverage that he has received. The judge said, no, 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 no.
Yeah, and that ignores all of his own comments on social media. I mean, his own lawyer has said, don't believe everything he said on social media, because some of it is so unappealing and so unhelpful to him in the context of this case. The notion that it's the media that has been the problem, the fact that the media is reporting on the things he says and does, that's not the problem. The problem is the things he says and does.
But that's not what he's on trial for.
That's exactly right. He is not on trial for raising the prices. He is on trial for securities fraud, for wire fraud, effectively for defrauding his investors, a completely separate issue from the main reason so many people despise him.
But it's sometimes hard for people to separate the two.
Exactly.
All right, Dan.